Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. My name is BLACSIREN and how are we doing today? Are we sad? Happy? Let me know in the comments. I recently just finished watching the show The Glory. I know I'm a little bit late to this game, but let me tell you, this show was good. Okay, so this show came out on the December of last year. And it caused a bit of sensation on the internet, not only in Korea, but also in China and the United States. Literally so many people were talking about it on the internet. Netizens were talking about the well thought out plot of the show, which was featured by one of the most talented and gorgeous actresses in Korea, Song Hye-kyo. And can we talk about her for a second? Because here's the thing, she doesn't have a lot of projects, but every show she appears in, it becomes a fucking hit. She just has that power. She's that good. The Glory also sheds light on sensitive and heartbreaking issues, particularly in school bullying. And school bullying is a huge societal issue that literally, let's just face it, exists in every country. But it is extremely widespread in South Korea. There are numerous K-dramas and movies that depict this school violence, which is a very heavy topic. Before we dive into today's story, I wanted to take a moment to address those who may currently be experiencing school bullying. It is important to know that there's nothing wrong with you. You didn't do anything wrong. It is not your fault. I have included hotlines in the description if you're in need of help, if you wanted to reach out and talk to somebody. And for the spectators out there, I highly encourage you, if you see something, say something. Now for those of you who haven't watched the show yet, I'm gonna give you a quick summary. The show Glory follows a woman whose name is Moon Tong-woon. Her 20-year-long revenge plan against her high school bullies. And during her time in high school, Tong-woon suffered severe bullying from both her peers and her teacher, enduring physical abuse such as slapping, punching, kicking, even sexual assault. And the show's most memorable scene involves when the bullies burning Tong-woon's arm with a curling iron in the gym, where they held her down and burning her arms while she was screaming, crying, and begging them to stop. Following the release of The Glory, and the school violence scene depicted in the show became a hot topic among netizens. While many people praised the actors' performances, several people felt the scene was too triggering. And some netizens commented they were relieved such violence had only occurred in the show. But what if I told you that these incidents were based on true stories? In creating The Glory, the writer researched the systemic violence that has impacted Korean society for decades. She even went extra miles to investigate and ensure that none of the cast members had a history of bullying. The show was inspired by two real-life stories, which we will discuss them today. And fuck, my mirror is so fucking small, I can't even see the details. The first case happened in Korea in 2006, and as the victim wants to remain anonymous, we're just gonna call her using an alias, Girl A. She was a third-year middle school student in Cheonju, and this incident occurred in mid-April 2006. So Girl A, she's a shy, introverted 14 years old, and she was waiting for the next train at the station when she saw a couple of students from her school walking towards her. They saw that Girl A was standing right there, looking very petite and timid. It was almost as if they had found their target. So the instigator of the group, I think her name is Kim Yeon. I don't know if I butchered the pronunciation, but let's just call her Kim. Kim walked up to her and asked, "Do you have any money?" Girl A was likely scared at that moment. She didn't answer them immediately, and perhaps she was considering the best response and pondering how could she get out of the situation. And maybe she didn't want to answer in hopes that they would leave her alone. However, before she could even open her mouth, a heavy slap landed on her face. Kim saw that as A was being very disrespectful. It was almost like, when I talk to you, you better open your fucking mouth. And from that day on, Girl A was bullied relentlessly for 20 days. She never thought that the school would be the equivalent of an inferno. Every single day, Kim and her minions picked on her. They kept blackmailing A for money, but she didn't have any, so they forced her to lie to her parents, saying that she needed the money for books and tutoring. And on the days when the demands were not met, they would beat her by using baseball bats. And you probably have seen this in K-dramas. In Korea, Most students wear a name tag on their uniforms, right? And on the back of the name tag is a tiny pin. So they scratched A's chest with that pin and physically abused her with fists and feet. Her body was covered with bruises. They even took her to the gym and burning her arm with a curling iron while saying, "Can you check the temperature for me?" If you have ever started your hair with a straightener or a curling iron, you have probably burned yourself accidentally at least once, and we all know how painful this could be, even if it's just for a split second. When we feel pain, our body immediately reacts and tries to stop it. But imagine if there are people grabbing your arms, holding you down, and leaving the curling iron on your arms for 1 minute, 2 minutes, or even longer. This resulted in having third-degree burns all over her arms, and she didn't even have time to heal the wounds because every time when the scabs started to heal, they would rip off the scabs off of her arms. They would use their nails to scratch the scabs and ripping it off, and they would even force A to do it herself in front of them. They threatened her if she ever told anybody about this, they would finish her. So she was too scared to tell anybody, including the teachers and even to her parents, and all she said to her parents was, "Please let me transfer to another school." But the parents didn't take her seriously. They thought it was just a childish request. They thought, oh, maybe it's because her friend is transferring to another school, so that's why she wanted the same. She was constantly having nightmares and woke up screaming and crying every single night. Her dad actually heard her crying, screaming a couple of times, but it never occurred to him that his daughter was actually going through these kind of stuff at school. So the torturing was getting severe each day until A's tailbone was being protruded and leading to a 6-week hospitalization. Even when she was in the hospital, she was still so scared to tell her parents what happened, but she kept begging her parents, "Please just transfer me to another school, please. 제발." The parents were livid at this point, and they went to her school and tried to get to the bottom of this. And you would not believe what the school had told the parents. They said, "We don't tolerate bullying at our school. According to a friend of A, the wound on her body caused by a bike accident, and she fell off the bike while riding it. She did everything to herself." The police were called at this point, and A finally gave out the bully's name to them. However, A was terrified by Kim's threats. She lied about the true perpetrators and falsely accused 2 innocent students from the school. But since the 2 students had good reputation at school, so it didn't take that long for them to figure out who the true bullies were. In the end, the Cheonju District Court issued an arrest warrant against Kim, citing brutality and gravity of the incident. The school and the teachers were also given administrative measures for poorly handling school violence, according to the reports. But here's the kicker. In the past, the punishment for school bullying in Korea was underdeveloped. So consequently, many bullies got away with their actions because they were protected by the law. The act of using heat styling tools, including a hair curler, it was a crime that categorized under special injury, which refers to an unlawful attack by injuring a person using dangerous objects. Even if Kim was arrested, the punishment imposed on her would be insignificant compared to the physical and mental damage suffered by A. It wouldn't even hold a candle to what they put A through. And honestly, because the bullies were kids, they were only 15 years old, I couldn't even find a picture of them. Nobody knows what the fuck are they doing and where the fuck they are right now, because they were protected by the law. Since the show The Glory caused so much attention, a victim who went through a similar tragedy came out on a Korean talk show, and she shared her experience with the audience. She talked about how she was the victim of school bullying that inspired the show, but she couldn't bring herself to watch the show because it was too triggering for her. She said her bullies would ask her for money and threaten to hurt her younger brother if she tells anyone about this. They burned her arms with a curling iron for over 5 minutes, and they poked her body with a fork and even damaged her iris by throwing into her eyes. So when the host asked her how did the bullies actually execute everything without being caught, she said, "The bullies would held her captive and then called her parents claiming that she was suicidal. She ran away from home, so they were taking care of her. And later they told their parents that she had nowhere to go and was in need of help. So they were being good people by taking care of her. So everything came to the surface during a graduation photo shoot. Her arms were covered in blisters that caused by the burning. And when the teacher realized there's actually fluid seeping through the fabric of the shirt and her sleeves were attached to her arms because it was so sticky from the oozing pus, then the teacher asked her what was going on. Then she told the teacher she was being bullied. So I just curled my lashes and I don't feel like using bossies today because my makeup today is very simple. So I'm just gonna use mascara. But before that, I'm gonna put some glitter on my eyelid. She said that the reason why she is on the show now is because she wants revenge. She wants her bully to understand how much pain that they have caused her. I honestly don't think they will give a shit. But I really admire her courage to even talk about this devastating experience. Then the host asked her if the bullies ever received any punishment, and she said only one person received punishment. This person received 40 hours of community service and 1 week suspension. That was it. That was the punishment. So something happened. I forgot to press the record button for the next part, so you wouldn't see me putting on blush and dotting my freckles. But you didn't miss a lot. The story is almost over. So the worst part of it all was everyone was blaming it on her. All the adults was blaming it on her, saying if you never hung out with them, nothing would have happened. You hung out with them, so that's why you got beat up. That's why you get bullied. It is your fault.
제가 제일 많이 들었던 건데 많이 들었던 말이 너가 당할 만해서 당한 일이 아니지 않냐. 너가 걔네들하고 어울려서 그렇게 된 거 아니냐. 그래서 나는 잘못이 없다고 그냥 얘기하고 싶어요.
그럼 잘못 없지. 잘못 하나도 없어요.
She had been having nightmares for years and completely lost faith in humanity. She couldn't trust anybody. But the good news is she is now surrounded by people who actually genuinely love her, and her friends told her, no matter what happens, we're gonna stand by your side. In recent years, Korea has taken steps to address the issue of school bullying, and in 2011, the Korean government actually passed a law to prevent school bullying happening and protect the victims. They even lowered the age for juvenile crimes, and now it's 14 and above. Despite the efforts, school bullying still remains a widespread issue in South Korea and so many other countries. There's still a lot of cases going unreported. The main reason for this is because the punishment is lenient. There's no severe consequences for the perpetrator's horrible actions. I hope that this video raises awareness and helps people understand the seriousness of school bullying. If you or someone you know is going through a hard time like this, don't be afraid to speak out and ask for help. Thank you so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed this video, please like, comment, subscribe. And remember, be safe, be vigilant, and take care.